What's up, everybody? Welcome to another episode of Thunder Sports Pod with JT and.
The stash, baby. Blitz, Bama, blitz.
So we had a wild couple of games in the college football community. The semifinal games between Texas and Alabama, and then the game after that, Michigan and Washington. Let's dive into that Bama Texas game first, Tess. What's your initial thoughts on the game?
On the Michigan Bama game, I think that
On the Texas Bama, the Michigan Bama game. Excuse me. Yeah.
Michigan Bama game was actually very intense. Jordan Milrow did not look very good in my opinion. He did not have he wasn't the guy I thought he was going to be in this game, especially the last play of the game, JT. But the defense in the first half for Michigan had 5 sacks by 5 different players. I mean, they were absolutely monster. They just kept staying in the backfield. They looked so good, and I'm excited for this championship game. But McCarthy, did he impress you in this game against that Bama defense?
He definitely made a couple of throws that were huge down the stretch. So yeah, he impressed me for the most part. But Blake Corum, that running back from Michigan, he's the real deal. I like him.
Are you thinking he's a better? Do you think he's a better running back than you initially thought coming into this? Do you think you think he's ranking a little higher than originally you had him, like during the midpoint of the season that we were talking
Yeah,
about?
a little bit. I know last season he had a really, really good year, Heisman almost campaign, but this year his production was still there, but not like it was last year. So I was kind of iffy on that, but he's impressed me a lot. He runs hard. He's not the biggest back, but he's great after the catch. So yeah, I
I
like
think
him.
he's gonna transition very well into the NFL, especially with how we're
Yeah,
becoming more of a dual threat running back situation. I think he's gonna transition very well into it.
yeah. We'll
But
do our running back rankings in the future,
JT,
closer to draft
you
time.
talked about Washington at the beginning of this year. You talked about Michael Penix Jr. You got to watch out for him this year. They're gonna turn some heads, and you're right because what did they go and do? They went and beat Texas. They beat
Man.
Texas in the Sugar Bowl and are going on to the championship game against Michigan.
Hmm. Oh yeah, that was a thriller game down to the wire, even more so than the Michigan and Alabama game. Loved both of them. Watched it to the last second of each game. Matthew McConaughey, all right, all right, all right. Man, he's got to be upset after that game. The fourth down play, Quinn Ewers throws it too far out of bounds, high, too far to the right. If he had kept that ball in bounds a little bit shorter, that would have been a game-winning touchdown. But it was a thrilling game, and I enjoyed every second of it. Washington, though, the reason they beat Texas was Michael Penix Jr. He is the real deal, and he was making some throws that I haven't seen a quarterback make probably since Joe Burrow. He was electric, electric.
He's also the only QB to throw for back-to-back 4,500 yards in college since Patty Mahomes.
And he has the second most passing yards in a playoff game in history of college football, only behind Joe Burrow.
I think that I think Penix Jr. is he may have not got the Heisman, but I think the draft people are going to start really looking at him now.
For sure. He'll be a top 15 to 20 pick locked now after that performance, I feel like personally. Um, but Romeo Adunze, that receiver for Washington, he definitely made some crucial catches down the wire against that Texas secondary that put them in prime position to win. And I will say this, the Texas defense is usually pretty good, but they got torched towards the end of that game against some speedy Washington receivers.
If I'm Patty Mahomes and I'm calling Andrew Reid watching this game, like get me these 2 guys, get me these guys in the draft right
Yeah,
now
yeah,
because they looked excellent.
I agree.
I was so impressed. And here's the crazy thing: number one, the number one team in the country advanced on to the championship game. Number two
Yeah.
advanced to the championship game. Not only that, but the only 2 teams that are left that are undefeated are facing off.
Mm.
So I'm excited. I'm definitely excited for this championship game. I think this is going to be a lot. A lot of people are going to be tuning into this, and I think. Have you seen the spread yet? It's 4.5 points for Michigan. That's it. I think that's really, really close. I think that is an excellent. I think this favored perfectly. I think this game could definitely go either way, but I expect a hard fought game either way.
Oh, Yeah, it'll be down to the wire. It's do you trust Michigan's defense more, or do you think the offense of Washington will take advantage of that Michigan defense?
I think Michigan also played a little sloppy in this game against Alabama. They definitely will have to fix that going into Washington. They can't have these mistakes.
No. Yeah, they definitely had some crucial mistakes for Bama. If they would have capitalized, they probably would have lost. Both teams in that game definitely made some huge mistakes. Like the punt returning from Michigan got to get fixed, man. They had
Definitely.
some two fumbles, I believe. It did not look pretty at all, but nonetheless, they came out on top. And Michigan is looking good. Their defense was all over the place, and if they play like they did against Alabama, it'll be tough to beat them. But I think it'll be a premier matchup. Everyone's got to tune in for that one Monday night.
Oh, definitely. This is gonna be a game that everyone has to tune in for. I'm excited. I'll be on the edge of my seats waiting. I think. Are we going to? Should we give them our predictions for the game?
Might as well.
We might as well. I'll let you go first. Who you taking?
I think it's going to be down to the wire. It's going to be a high scoring game, I feel like. Michigan is going to have to put up more points than they have all year. I'm going to say the final score is going to be 38 to 35 Michigan on top.
I like it. I like it. I'm actually going to take the underdogs in this one. I'm taking Michael Penix Jr. I think he's going to ball out. I think this is going to be a very close game as well, but I'm taking 42-40
Mm,
Washington.
I like it. We'll see who's closer. Let us know down below who you're rolling with. Do you got Michigan or Washington? Let us know down below. But we'll go ahead and move on. We'll roll to the next segment, everybody. So, quarterback frenzy, quarterback rushing ability. Who is better, Cam Newton or Jalen Hurts?
Michael Vick. I'm kidding.
Well, Jalen Hurts just beat Cam's rushing touchdowns record, but it was the tush push
Get it out
mainly
of
for
my
all of
face.
them.
Yeah, 9 of those touchdowns were also from the 1 yard line. He only had one touchdown all season from
Mm,
12 yards or more out. So, no,
yeah.
I don't care. Like, if Tom Brady got 15 QB sneaks in a season, we're going to start saying that Tom Brady's an elite rushing QB? No, not going to
Mm,
happen. So, no, I don't care. Like, I still don't consider, like, just because you have the most touchdowns in a season at that as a QB
yeah.
sneak, no, you're not the best. Now, if you're getting if I'll give you this. If you get 15 rushing touchdowns from 7 yards and more, then I'll give you credit. That's a lot. I think, but like fighting through traffic like Cam used to do back in the day, nah. Cam was
Oh
a
yeah.
different monster when it came to these scoring these touchdowns on the ground.
Oh,
I have to
100%.
go with Cam on this.
I would agree with you, Stash. Cam Newton in his prime in Carolina was a sight to see, especially his MVP season. I think people forget about how nasty that man was in his peak. He was throwing the ball down the field with anticipation, and he had a great arm before his shoulder injury kind of plagued him the rest of his career. But speaking of his legs, I mean, he would run people over 30, 40 yards down the field compared to Hurts, where he's running his touchdowns in mainly 10 yards in. So I think the better rushing quarterback is pretty easy. I think it's Cam Newton.
100%. Now, we're not going to get up too off track here, but I just want to throw a scenario out for you. I'll let you pick between these two, but it's a little different. Would you rather take Cam Newton's rushing ability in the pros or Tebow's in college?
Ooh.
I'll 100%. Cam was a better pro QB, no doubt. But college, there's a lot of comparisons between them. Cam was his backup for a reason, so I'm just throwing that out there for you. Maybe the people in the comments let me know who you taking? Tebow in college, Cam in the pros. Let me know.
Hmm. I would probably. That's a tough one. I'm gonna go with. I'm gonna go with Tim Tebow's ability for rushing the ball because actually, you know what? I'm not gonna go Tim Tebow. I'm gonna go Cam Newton. Cam Newton because his ability to juke out defenders, run over people with pure force.
6'5",
I mean, Tim,
250.
Tim Tebow, he would run you over, but Cam Newton had that little agility and little change of direction more so than Tim Tebow had. I think Tim would definitely was the better college quarterback, but when you're talking about pure ability to run the football, give me Cam.
That's fair. I like that. Me personally, I'm into bias pick if I'm taking Tebow, but It's just because I'm a little biased on it. Cam was phenomenal though, 100%.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, I think it's very close. I mean, either way you look at it, two phenomenal rushing quarterbacks in their prime.
Definitely, definitely, man. These were great. All right, what we got next on the agenda?
All right, moving on. This might stir up a little bit of controversy, but when athletes recover, do some guys use performance enhancing drugs underneath the surface and do not get caught, do you feel like HGH, etc.?
I have no ties to any athletics in any department, but I'm going to say yes. I I know like I mean you think about it. I'm going to say I don't want to point any names at anybody, but he was a two-time champion in a sport that was dealt with very physically, and he buffed up quite a bit in the off season. He was not competing at the time, so I have no issue with this. You can do what you want in your free time as long as you are not physically playing and using, I have no issue with it. But definitely think it happens a lot.
I agree. I think it's probably used more so than we think. And I mean, you got to think these athletes are going through torment with their bodies, so they've got to find what can help them get back on the field the quickest, the most legal way. And sometimes that's under the table a little bit. So I think some athletes definitely use performance enhancing drugs and get away with it. Um,
Um, uh, the Bucks center Jensen
yeah,
and Ronnie Coleman is another person, for example, get stem
yeah,
cell shots and stuff.
yeah.
But you can't do it in the states. But you can go to other places and get it done. So
Mm.
that like even for the Bucks themselves, I'm like, okay, yeah, that definitely is a thing that happens.
For sure.
Jensen was able to
And I feel
compete, so he was out during the time though.
Yeah. And whenever Peyton Manning had that neck injury, he got busted for HGH. Granted, I don't think that was on purpose per se. It might have been kind of underlining in the medication he was taking. I don't know. Who knows about that story? But I definitely feel like there's athletes out there that have been using it to get back to the field quicker.
It's not the blitz the league out here. We can't be just having everybody on gear.
Allegedly, we do
Allegedly,
not claim
allegedly.
anybody is
No,
taking HGH. Let's get that out there first and foremost. But
no, nobody at all.
yeah. All right, so we'll go ahead and move on to the next subject. Who is the most underrated tight end of all time?
So this guy, the guy I picked, actually played for my Bucks at one point. I'm not, but he did not make his career there. I'm going with Dallas Clark.
Ooh, I love that pick. That's very good.
I think Dallas Clark was
Underrated tight end.
excellent. I think he was very. I mean, Peyton Manning sure as hell loved having him on his team.
Oh,
So
100%. He was one of his favorite targets to go to. Very consistent.
And I mean, I think he did great for a career. He had 53 touchdowns on the year. He had
Mm,
5,600 receiving yards and had 500 over 500 catches. I mean, what more can you ask from a tight end?
yeah, really.
I think he's definitely overlooked a little bit, but I think he was an excellent tight end when he was out there. And I mean, he played for a while too. He played for 10 seasons. I think that's a
Oh,
good career. Definitely.
hmm
I think Dallas Hard was excellent, and like I said, I do think he's actually fallen back a little bit. Like a lot of people don't talk about it. Like more people like you and me will remember him, but this newer generation
Yeah.
probably doesn't. Like they're like, who? I'm like, oh man, you just had to be there. Kind of like Wes Welker.
Yeah, Wes Welker was underrated too. He was a very good player in his prime. But yeah, I like that pick a lot.
Who you got?
So, for my most underrated tight end, a lot of people may forget this man's name. Some people may remember him. But Jeremy Shockey for the New York Giants and New Orleans Saints. In his prime, this man was a beast. He would get yards after reception, run people over. He would run your favorite defender over with authority. Stiff arm to the face. I mean, this guy was electric after the catch, and people could not slow him down. Pretty underrated, underappreciated. So his stat line for his career 6,143 receiving yards with 37 touchdowns. He had a solid NFL career. Not a lot of people throw love towards his name, but we're going to do that today.
Oh, Jeremy Shockey was a menace. He was a menace. You know who? You know who? I don't know why, but I always compare them very similar. Jimmy Graham, Jeremy Shockey, just physical tight ends that will
Mm,
go up on anybody. I have seen Jeremy Shockey go up on and catch a ball on Brian Dawkins and then come
yeah.
down on it and
Yep.
laugh in his face
Yep.
the
I
entire
saw that.
time. Blows my
Exactly.
mind.
Exactly.
Brian freaking Dawkins, you're doing that too? Oh my goodness.
One of the hardest hitting safeties to ever play the
One of the
game.
best just plain out safeties to ever play the game.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, yeah, Jeremy Shockey did not care. He was playing with on his turf, on his game plan, and he was going to do whatever he could to you.
Oh,
So I feel like we picked some solid tight ends that were underrated. Let us know down below who is the most underrated tight end of all time down below in the comments.
I think Jimmy Graham's also a great tight
Jimmy Graham was very good. I don't think he's as underrated as those two other guys, though. Go ahead and move on to the next agenda here. Where will Russell Wilson be playing football at in 2024, Stash?
So I've heard a couple different names. So a lot of people have been talking about Justin Fields going to Atlanta, but I actually think there's a possibility that Russ ends up in Atlanta next season.
Ooh.
I personally don't want that as a Tampa fan. I don't want to deal with Russ. People are like, "Oh, Russ is done." I'm like, I'm worried to play the dude twice a year, especially with
Hmm.
especially with Kyle Pitts, Bijan Robinson, Drake London, and a quarterback that's half competent that can actually use these weapons that are in front of him.
Yeah,
Absolutely no. I don't want to deal with it. I want to win the division next year. I don't want to have to fight for it like this season. So
exactly.
I don't want that. I've also heard Minnesota. I very unlikely that's going to happen. There's actually also a possibility of him going to the Browns. I heard, which blew my mind. That they're
Interesting.
I'm
Yeah.
like, you can't let the man Flacco go if he gets you this ring this year.
Yeah,
Unless
really. What would they do with the Deshaun Watson if that happens?
I mean, dead money, just like Daniel Jones at this point.
That'd be crazy. But yeah, that's facts. Oh man.
Where do you think he's
I
going?
like I think there's a couple different places where he can. Atlanta, like you mentioned, would be pretty ideal, especially in their quarterback carousel of Taylor Heineke and Desmond Ritter. Those two guys are not the answer. Those are not the future for your franchise. So I like Atlanta, but my pick currently. All right, so you think about this. Where did Russell Wilson play at the last two teams he played at? Seattle, pretty small market team, not a high market team, kind
I
of
would put him
mediocre.
up a little higher than most teams because like you got to think about it. The last 20 years they've been to what 3 Super Bowls?
Yeah, but like the media team itself, like
Oh, I
the
mean,
sports media, Seattle's not up there with like LA and
not like
Miami, stuff like that.
not like it was when they had the Legion of Boom. No,
Oh
definitely not.
no, exactly my point. And he's playing with Denver currently, and they're not getting the attention they did, especially with Peyton Manning. So, two kind of smaller market media teams. I think Russell Wilson is going to try to go to a bigger market team where he can prove himself later in his career. And what other opportunity would present itself than being in the big blue country? The New York Giants are going to go after Russell Wilson, and he'll be the starter for them in 2024, replacing Daniel Jones. They'll eat up all that dead money, and they're going to acquire more dead money in the future with with Russell Wilson. But I think this is going to be a perfect situation because he's leaps and bounds ahead of Daniel Jones. And getting Saquon Barkley out of the backfield with Russell Wilson will be a very good duo. He could answer their problems if they continue to improve that defense. The Giants could be in the playoffs next year like they were the year before this season.
I mean, maybe I don't know. I was also thinking like maybe Vegas, and also another team I was thinking about New Orleans.
I think Vegas would be more realistic than New Orleans just because they just gave Carr that deal down there. Um, and I think Aiden O'Connell and Jimmy Garoppolo, that's not the future. So if they want to get a guy for at least 3 years,
They may
go
be
after
drafting a
Russell.
guy this year though,
They probably
being
will be drafting
Vegas.
a quarter. They probably will be drafting a quarterback. But I like Russell Wilson going to Vegas. But my personal pick, I see him being with the G-Man for next year. Them getting rid of Daniel Jones and Russell Wilson will be suiting up for the New York Giants next season.
We'll see. I'm curious where he's going to go, especially. I mean, like this draft being so heavy in QBs, we'll have to also definitely look into like maybe who's drafting a QB. So where is Russ
Exactly.
going? Is he going to be a
Because
starter? sense.
And that's going to be. I'm glad you mentioned that, Stats, because that's going to be a huge issue for these veteran quarterbacks trying to land a starting spot in the league next year. There's going to be 4 to 5 guys that'll be starters next year as rookies or potentially starters. And this year's quarterback class is extremely deep. And Russell Wilson, you've got to definitely think about your steps carefully because wherever you go is probably going to be your last destination before you retire. And I do not like how Denver did this, man, especially Sean Payton.
Nah,
It
it
just,
was so dirty, man. It's so
yeah,
dirty. But now that the players' union is getting involved, there looks like they're either going to have to play him and start him, or they're going to have to pay him and let him go. Either way,
mm,
man's getting paid.
for sure. He'll definitely be getting his bag, but we'll go ahead and move on to the next segment, everybody. A little bit of Adam Sandler here. What is the more iconic sport movie from Adam Sandler? Happy Gilmore or The Waterboy?
JT. So, my personal opinion, my which one I like better is I'm more of a Happy Gilmore fan. But
Mm,
you ask me which Adam Sandler movie is more iconic, it's definitely Waterboy. I feel like Waterboy is 100% like Happy Gilmore is one of my all-time favorite, like by far. But Waterboy is so iconic.
mm.
But Bobby Boucher, I, like I like when he calls Captain Insano, Captain Insano. I fucking yeah, I love it. Like it's
Oh my
great.
gosh.
I like it.
I love both of those.
Oh,
Yeah, they're great movies for sure. If I had to pick one, I think the first movie you mentioned, I'm going with, man. Happy Gilmore is the more iconic movie. I feel like it just has more memorable scenes, but both have great memorable scenes when you look at it. I think they're hilarious in their own manner. And when you look at it, I mean, Happy Gilmore, he influenced a whole like worldwide sport of swinging a club a certain way, try to hit the crap out of the ball going a mile. But I just think it's more iconic. Over Shooter McGavin, you've got his rival with him trying to beat him, and I think overall I would go with Happy Gilmore sliding out of Waterboy.
I'm taking Waterboy. But like I said, I like Happy Gilmore better. I think it's a bet. I like it personally a lot more. Like if you tell me like, hey, pick one of these to watch, I'm like, I'm going to pick Happy. But
Yeah,
just Waterboy just seems so iconic. That's the one I always remember everyone talking about growing up, like out of the sports Adam Sandler movies. So
yeah.
also,
There's a lot of yeah. There's a lot of funny scenes in Waterboy
if
that
you need a
always.
funny sport movie to watch, I'll tell you right now, watch The Goon with Sean William Scott in it.
Mm.
Funny movie, absolutely funny. One of my favorites. The hockey movie, but it is so
Oh
funny.
yeah, yeah. Oh yeah. But let us know down below which is more iconic, The Waterboy or Happy Gilmore. Let us know down below in the comments. So we'll move on to the next topic, everybody. So, in their prime, who are you taking in the NBA? Tracy McGrady or James Harden?
Hmm. Prime Harden was nasty. Like, no doubt. Like, I think he averaged, like, what, like 34, 35 a game? Like, Prime
Yeah,
Harden, when that MVP season, like, he was just balling out. It's hard. But T Mac, like, 11 points, 8 seconds, T Mac.
yeah.
Like, I mean, absolutely a monster. Maybe a little biased pick, but I'm going with T Mac on this. Even though I think it is so close, but James Harden is a generational athlete. Like he is one of the best to ever do it, and I think T Mac is the same.
Mm,
But like I said, injuries hurt T Mac so bad. That's what caused it. If it wasn't for that, I think maybe we're looking at T Mac higher without injuries. But we'll never know. But like I think he had the potential to be ahead. Like because I remember there's very few people that like if I were to talk like if we were to talk about comparison in the NBA against players, like if I said do you think James Harden and Kobe are on the same level? What do you think?
no,
No, right? You don't think you're like, nah, Kobe's way better. But people were comparing prime T Mac and prime Kobe back then. So I'm just
that
why I
is
gotta go.
that's
That
a very valid point. That's a
that's
good point.
why I gotta go with prime T Mac on this.
Yeah. If it was not for injuries, I think T Mac could have been one of the best players of all time. He would have been definitely a top 20 player, top 15 player. Um,
Maybe even top 10, maybe even top. I'm not gonna say he
maybe.
guaranteed, but I think top five. I don't know. Top
No,
10. I think he had a really good shot at it.
yeah. I mean, he's still one of the best scorers of all time. Easily, whenever he was still healthy. I mean, he was a menace on the court. Like you said, people were comparing him to Kobe Bryant, Kobe Bean Bryant. But
Black Mamba.
you know what James Harden also created? A whole generation of kids that started doing the Euro step just
But
because of him. I think the better player in their prime was James Harden. He changed the game, whether you like it or not. Or he would draw fouls. I don't like players drawing fouls, getting jumping into them, shooting their shot, but he created the entire wave of that. And it's smart on his behalf to try to draw those free throws. And in his prime, he was averaging 30 points per game, right at it. And the MVP season he had was crazy. So in their prime, I'm going with James Harden for sure.
hey, that's a good take. Like I said, I'm still gonna go with T Mac on this, but y'all let us know in the comments below. You taking prime T Mac or prime Harden?
Harden, let's go.
It's all about that T Mac, baby.
So, all right, everybody, we'll move on to the next topic. A little bit of fighting here. What is your thoughts on Conor McGregor's next opponent and Michael Chandler?
The fight
It was announced yesterday.
fighting at 185, which is crazy. These guys are going to be at big weight, big old weight for comparatively,
Big
especially
boy
like
weight.
taking in comparison when McGregor first came into fighting, he was about 40 pounds lighter. So you're looking at McGregor with an extra 40 pounds on him against Chandler too.
He's gonna be bulked up.
I think I don't know. I'm excited for this fight just because it's McGregor. Of course,
Yeah.
everyone's like, I mean, he's a legend. That's
Hmm.
what he is. He's going to be one of the greatest. He's going to go down as one of the greatest UFC fighters of all time, especially one of the most iconic. But I think he's got caught like maybe three more fights left in him total.
Yeah.
Five max. Five is the max. I don't see anything more than that. Depending on how this match goes, he may retire after that too. So we'll see. But I'm excited. I'm very excited for it. But five matches. I think he's got five fights in him left.
I could see that. Maybe less than that, bro. I think it's definitely less than five. Conor McGregor, one of my favorite fighters of all time. I'm a big stan of his, but I mean, he's a legend, bro. Who does not like the notorious Conor McGregor? I mean, he is just outright just his his confidence in his ability to perform in moments where you think he may not perform was just insane. And this fight will be interesting because he's coming off a big injury. It's been a while since we've seen him in the ring, and I'm a little nervous for him because I've seen videos of him training. He's definitely in shape. He's going to be buffed up to about 185, like you mentioned. Chandler's getting older. I think he should be able to beat him. I will say this, though, Stash. If he loses to Michael Chandler, he'll be retiring right after that.
Oh, but no, that's what I was saying. Like
He,
depending on this, how this fight actually ends, will determine a lot.
if he loses to him, he will not fight another match. But if he wins, this could catapult him into a crazy story of the returning champ himself. So I think he could eventually catapult himself up to a title shot.
I
If he
think.
continues to win,
I think if
eventually.
he beats Chandler, he'll try to fight Islam. Khabib's
Maybe.
Khabib's like I mean this is like it's
Yeah.
like Master
Dude,
and like Jedi and Padawan. Like it would
imagine
be.
if he does fight Islam, beats him, Khabib returns out of retirement just to fight Connor.
I don't know if Khabib would do it. I think Khabib's pretty much done. But like you would hope you would be like you be people would be on the edge of their seat. You could people would pay an amount of
Dude,
money to watch
I would
Khabib
I would
versus
fly
Conor
down there, my
McGregor
friend. Oh my
rematch.
gosh.
You could
I would love
You
to
could
see that
sell
in
front
person.
row seats for 100K.
Whew. Dude, that would be insane. Dana White would be just ready to cash out,
Oh
for all
yeah,
that money getting in there for that fight. But I think realistically, Connor's probably got 3 fights left in him, four maybe. But like we were talking about, if he wins this one, he'll definitely keep going. until his body says no. I mean, I've enjoyed his run. His peak was insane. One of the best fighters of all time in the sport. And he'll go down as a legend, like you said. But I'm very intrigued to see how this matchup will go.
Definitely. I mean, I just love it. I just love to see it. So I'm
Oh, yeah.
definitely hyped for it. Like I can't wait for it to be here.
It's definitely good for the sport. It draws attention to it. That's never a bad thing. So we'll go ahead on to the next subject, everybody. So, what are your final thoughts on the NFL season, Stash?
You're gonna make me tear up over here, JT. I don't want it to be over already.
Me neither.
It's went by too fast. That's for sure. I, for the most part, even as a Bucks fan and having like a really bad losing streak this season, that we've definitely played a lot better than I originally intended. I thought for sure we were going to be a 14 win max. We doubled what my expectations. I can't be mad about that. We got a chance of
Mm.
winning and going to the playoffs and facing like probably the Eagles. I think we in a match. I think we can win that game. I don't know if we will, but I think we can.
Yeah.
But like just everything over the league. The thing I'm most upset about is all the injuries. I would love to see what
Yeah.
this league looked like with everyone healthy. Nick Chubb, Aaron Rodgers, Joe Burrow. Like I mean, almost everyone in the AFC, all the AFC QBs are just basically all hurt. So
Pretty much.
that's a big thing. But what it makes me excited for through all the injuries though is next year everyone's coming back healthy. I'm excited to see what happens. I'm hoping, I was talking about this earlier, I want the closest season of all time next season. I want every team to be 8-9 and 8-9 and 9-8. I want it to be that close. I want every single game next season to matter beyond anything. I want the
That'd be
tiebreakers to
crazy.
have to go down like to the seventh one to figure out who's making it to the playoffs. I
Mm.
want it as tight as possible. I want it to be the best season ever. I want it to be the most competitive as a fan.
Oh,
Even if
yeah.
my team misses out, I want it to be the most competitive.
I mean, that's definitely a good thing to, you know, dream of because every fan wants it to be competitive across the league instead of these powerhouse teams going at it every year.
I
Um,
don't want. I want my pros to be pros, not college.
yeah, that's very true. Um, although about college, real quick, the playoffs, you can only make the playoffs if you're a 1 or 2 loss team. You can make the playoffs as an 8 or 9 loss team in the NFL.
That's
Food
true.
for food for thought.
But if you win your conference in college, you're automatically in.
So they say.
Yeah, so you say.
Yeah, exactly.
You know, people are gonna be talking about
Um,
this for the next 10 years.
yeah. Oh goodness. But my thoughts on the NFL season, just to reiterate what you said, Stash, about the injuries, that was the worst thing for me as a fan. I mean, there's so many hurt players to the quarterback position. Just so many guys going down and you don't expect them to really every single guy you to go down. I mean, Joe Burrow, Anthony Richardson, and the entire AFC quarterback guys. I mean, there was just a lot of injuries this year, like you were talking about. And it just goes to show how much those teams rely on those players. Besides the Browns, I mean, Joe Flacco caught off the couch. He,
Hall of Famer Joe Flacco, people. Hall of Famer. He's getting a ring. Browns win it all this year. Browns unless they play the Bucks and then the Baker's revenge tour. I can't tell you guys enough. That's what's going to happen. I'm just telling you guys in advance. Don't be shocked when Baker
hey,
Mayfield beats the Browns in the Super Bowl.
exactly. Oh gosh, but yeah, honestly, it's been a fun year. Injury plagued for sure. Vikings let me down. Injuries though have plagued them like every other team in the league.
But take that with what you will. You guys beat the Niners this year
Yeah,
with injuries. You guys,
true, true.
you guys won a lot of games this year with all your banged up injuries. Daniel Hunter was like leading in sacks all like basically all season. You guys had a great year with
Mm,
everything taken into account. You guys balled out. Josh Dobbs
for sure.
lit up for you guys for a couple games. The
Yeah,
pass or not hype was real. This was fun. It was a good season.
it was. That was probably the highlight of my season is seeing Josh Dobbs just light the league up for 3 to 4 games and
Off the
just go
plane.
crazy.
You was talking about Flacco getting off the couch. That was him off the
Off the
plane.
plane, yeah. Oh gosh. But I mean, there's definitely some big question marks for this team. Um, does Minnesota bring back Kirk Cousins after this year? They better. So they saw the quarterback play of Jaron Hall and Nick Mullins and didn't look so hot. So we'll definitely should be bringing back Kirk Cousins. And after next year, Justin Jefferson, his contract will be up. So we've got to pay that man as well. Getting Kirk back from injury, getting TJ Hawkinson back from injury, those guys will be big.
Oh, definitely, definitely gonna be big. I think a lot of things gonna happen, especially getting TJ hurt late in the season. Definitely is
Yeah.
never good. But I think, yeah, I think your division could definitely be one of the toughest divisions next season for sure. I think.
It'll,
Hear me out. I'm calling it now. I'm calling it now. I think that the Packers win 11 games next season. I'm calling it
I'm,
now. It is January 3rd. I'm calling it now. Packers win 11 games next season.
I mean, yeah. I mean, if their defense continues to improve, they didn't look so good this year on the defensive side of the ball. But if they get better, their offense looked good this year. So Jordan Love has been improving a lot.
In the making.
Uh, how did I get this lucky 3 times in a row? God.
Packers, baby. They can't draft back QBs.
Oh
Let them sit
man,
for 3 years. It's perfect. They have a rotation.
crazy
Hey,
man.
and then you know what? Jordan Love is going to go to the Jets. Just watch.
Exactly. But we'll go ahead and move on to the next subject, everybody. So, NBA team that has surprised you the most this year that will make the playoffs.
Which team has impressed me the best, the most when it comes to
Surprised you the most this year, but they're going to make the playoffs in your eyes.
100%? My Orlando Magic, baby. Let's go. I'm calling it fifth seed, fifth or fourth.
Oh
I think we've
man.
been playing hot. We've kind of our hot streak has fallen back a little bit, but I think we're still playing at a high level. So I'm definitely going to be taking my Orlando Magic on this. Do you want me
Mm,
to pick a uh, West team as well?
sure, might as well. We'll both do an East and West team.
Now I want to change my. Actually, there's another team that like I was going to say instead of Orlando. Now that I think about it, it was the Pacers,
Yeah.
bro. They have been hot.
Ooh.
They have been so hot. They look so good
Mhm.
right now.
Oh yeah.
I'm gonna have to go with probably gonna have to go with the Timberwolves. The Timberwolves actually shocked me. I did not expect them to be as good as they are this year. They are balling out.
I agree. I think the Timberwolves. Anthony Edwards is just him, bro. He is literally the embodiment of Michael Jordan.
Bro has been insane. I was like, what is
Dude,
going
his
on?
mentality, he has that killer instinct like Kobe. I mean, I'm not trying to gas this man up or nothing, but if he continues to improve a little bit, but if he continues to improve like he has been each year, he's going to be a top 5 player in no time,
He
easily.
he has looked incredible. Like
Yeah.
I'm not gonna say he's gonna win MVP just yet. Actually, I don't know. Embiid is making a strong case. Like last year,
Yeah.
I thought it should have went to Jokic. This
Yeah.
year, right now, I'm like Embiid is just playing out of his mind. So I'm like, right now, I'll admit, I think Embiid wins it right now.
hmm
He's balling.
For my team, that is kind of the most surprising team that's going to make a crazy playoff push this year. The Oklahoma City Thunder.
With shit with
Yes.
Chet,
Chet, and we got Shea Gillis Alexander,
bro,
and
he's looked like a top five guard.
he has been balling. He's been balling, putting up crazy numbers. And we won't mention Josh Giddey, but he's been doing pretty good too. But they've got good depth on their bench. They've got good solid rotational players. Chet's been playing good this year for them. Very efficient, and they've been beating teams I didn't think they'd beat this year. They just beat tonight the Boston Celtics, the number 1 team in the entire NBA. So they're going to be putting up a good chance, a good fight in the playoffs, and I could see them honestly pushing to the Western Conference Finals this year. They're a good young team, but they're built for success.
Could you imagine? Could you imagine OKC Timberwolves Western Conference Finals?
I would love to see that. I would really love to see that. Anthony Edwards versus Shea Gillis Alexander, man.
Mm-hmm.
SGA. That'd be premier matchup.
That would be. What? Hey,
Yeah.
we gotta tell half court Caleb.
Indeed. Yeah. Um, another team for the West that I can see do good in the playoffs is the Kings, Sacramento. Um, last year they looked really good.
I
I think they'll
can't.
continue to build off of it.
You think they messed up on that trade though? They traded the wrong guard.
Who?
The dude in the Pacers killing it right now.
Oh yeah, Halliburton.
Burton has looked
Yeah, yeah. Well, he was not really flourishing like he was there,
and maybe it was
like
it
he
was
is
it
now.
was best for both teams that way.
Yeah,
Like instead
exactly.
of looking at it like, oh, they got robbed on this trade, it was actually just best for both teams that way.
And they've got Sabonis with De'Aaron Fox and some other guys that
Aaron
can
Fox is
play
so
make,
good.
and he's so good. Yeah, he's a great player. And they've just got shooters around them to just knock it down from deep. And I think they've got a good chance at pushing it pretty far in the playoff. Dude, I'm excited for the West, man. The playoffs in the West, it's gonna be insane.
Oh,
You got the Clippers, LA Clippers, that are finally healthy. You got Russell Westbrook, who's been looking pretty good. He's a shell of his former self, don't get me wrong, but he's been playing decent this year.
Mr.
Not
Triple
great.
Double.
And then also Paul George, who's been looking stellar this season, very efficient. And Kawhi Leonard, if he can stay healthy, those three gonna be wild. Gonna be
Kawhi
insane.
Kawhi Leonard, if I'm not mistaken, has the best winning percentage of any player when he's on the court, and
Yeah.
it's just like
And
he's just never on the court. Like I
And
love Kawhi.
we exactly, and we didn't even mention the Euro step king himself, James Harden. If that man gets on fire late down the season in the playoffs, watch out for that team.
I think basketball is evolving at a fast
Mm,
rate. I think that like we're seeing a lot of people come in and just take over, and a lot of our veterans are getting pushed back. You notice?
yeah,
Because I mean, think about it. Think about in their prime. You think you could have got James Harden, Kawhi Leonard, Paul George, Russell Westbrook on the same team?
no way. You know, one more team I'll bring up for short honorable mention that I could see possibly doing good in the playoffs, maybe like a round two appearance, possibly. The New Orleans Pelicans.
Zion?
Yeah, buddy. Well, Brandon Ingram is the X factor for that team. He is built like Kevin Durant, shoots just like Kevin Durant. He has the handles like him. Dude, I'm telling you, Brandon Ingram in 2 to 3 years, people will be comparing him to Kevin
Bro,
to KD.
but I feel like Brandon Ingram's been in the league forever.
He has it's been a way. He really hasn't shown out until he got to New Orleans. He was playing good in LA after a couple of seasons from his rookie year, but when he got traded to New Orleans, he was put in a position where he had to lead early. And him and Zion are a good duo.
No, they're a good duo, but I don't know how much I don't know how much longer I've got to wait on Brandon Ingram. He's shown me pieces where he's been very impressive. I'm just waiting for that moment where I think like he just shines more. That makes more sense.
Just wait for them playoffs, bro, this year. I'm
I
telling you,
hope
bro.
so.
He, he's gonna go crazy
I'm gonna
this
tell you right now. There's only one person. If I'm going to the playoffs, there's only one man I'm taking.
Jokic.
Close. Jamal Murray. Jamal Murray in the playoffs just lights it up, man.
Mm,
He's just so impressive.
yeah. But we'll go ahead and move on to the next segment, everybody. Let us know who would you guys who would you guys choose for so for a team that surprised you guys the most and that will make a deep playoff push. Next segment we got. So I've got a question for you, Stash.
So,
Michael Jordan, Jordan Brand. Who was the first ever signed athlete to his brand?
so I'm trying to think back to this, like when this became a. I've been. I'm trying to think. Who was the first one back in what was it? 02, 03?
'03 was the guy in the draft class
Oh, okay. So it was a draft class. So it was
that Jordan picked.
So 03. So what? Melo, LeBron, D Wade, Chris Bosh. That was 02.
No, I was 03.
That was 03. I'm
Mhm.
taking Melo. I think it was Melo.
Bang, bang, bang. You're right. Your first guess. Carmelo Anthony was the first player ever signed to Jordan Brand by
I
himself.
knew.
MJ.
I'm like, it's not Bosh. I'm like, it's not Wade. I think Wade went with Adidas when he came out, and then I think it was Adidas, and then I knew it wasn't LeBron. There was too much. That would have been way too much controversy with it being LeBron.
Ooh, man. Yeah, really.
So
But yeah, that was an interesting little stat. I didn't know that Carmelo was the first ever Jordan
hey,
Brand.
you want to see a really cool, like interesting statistic? Look up LeBron's and Melo's rookie stats.
Hmm.
They're exactly the same.
You want to hear a little interesting tad bit about Carmelo Anthony?
He dropped 62 with the Knicks with no assists, no rebounds, and I mean, did
Very true. One of the best scorers of all time. But Jordan helped his game out significantly because he was stressing his first through couple years in Denver, trying to get a bucket, trying to get more points per game averaging. Jordan broke it down to him and simplified the game. He's like, just get you 7 points a quarter, get you two layups, a jump shot, and you're good. Get to the free throw line a couple times a game. And he went from averaging, I believe, 23 points per game to right at 30. I think it was 29.5 or something like that. But he definitely helped out his game a lot, having that mentality switch. Another thing, Paul Pierce said he would rather guard Kobe Bryant and several other players before guarding Carmelo Anthony.
I mean, that's no doubt. Like, I mean, we saw Melo on when he was in Denver. Young Melo
Mhm.
was savage. Like, young Melo was nasty. And then
He was a
you
killer. He
gave
was
him
crazy.
AI too. I'm surprised they didn't get further with those two, but oh well. And then when he went to New York and he tore it up, and don't forget, don't even get me started. Don't even get me started on Hoodie Mello. All right.
Ooh, in the summer, man. Yeah, he,
Mm,
he goes crazy in them little exhibition games. But but yeah, that was a little interesting fact there. But we'll go ahead and move on. Move on to the last segment of the day, everybody. So I'm gonna list four running backs to you, Stash. One has to go. One of these running backs has to go in their prime.
ooh, prime. Prime is so
Yeah, but
hard. I feel like that is such a hard category because I got to think about like watching them individually
yeah,
play and like not like over the seasons, just like the best version of
exactly. I'll let you go first, and then I'll give my thoughts last.
them.
But here's the players: Todd Gurley,
Okay. Ooh,
Jamal Charles,
Jamal Charles was underrated.
Shady McCoy,
Shady was around for a long time.
and Zeke.
Zeke had moments. I think Zeke was better in college than he was in pro.
Mm.
But if I'm being real with you, I'm probably gonna have to go with. I'm keeping 100%. I'm keeping Todd Gurley. I think Todd Gurley was one of the greatest, like in his prime, one of the greatest backs. Like he was
Oh yeah,
amazing. So I gotta keep him. Then Ezekiel Elliott has some games, has some moments. I don't want to like get rid of Zeke just yet. Jamal Charles, I think, is underrated. I
yeah,
mean, stat wise, I mean he had his moments. Mm, and you had him on kickoff too a lot. You had him on kickoff return, so that's another good thing to have. That's another good factor to have in a running back.
exactly.
I might have to keep Zeke. I gotta keep Zeke. I
You're
hate.
cutting Zeke.
No, I'm keeping Zeke.
Oh, you're keeping Zeke.
Yeah, so I got Gurley and Zeke. I'm thinking prime because like Zeke had some of his some games Zeke's has been amazing. So and he had a couple good seasons. I guess I'm gonna keep. I guess I'm gonna cut Jamal. Honestly,
Ooh,
I think so.
man.
The shot. I think. Well,
Yeah,
it's so hard because like I kind of want to keep Jamal over McCoy because McCoy was good, but like it was like he was just around for a long period. He played a lot more. Oh, this is hard. This is a little harder
yeah.
than I thought. I think Sean got a lot of extra credit because he's just played so long. But like
Yeah.
I don't know if he I would put like in prime. I don't know if I put McCoy above the other three in prime form.
Mm.
Yeah, I gotta cut McCoy. I will have to cut McCoy. I'm sorry, I'm cutting McCoy. Just straight prime, man. I have to. I gotta just cut McCoy. I'm sorry. I don't even
That's
want to cut
dirty
McCoy because
word.
I could.
That's
There's so
crazy.
there's so many good options here. But Zeke when was it his rookie year or was it the year after? He just balled out. He looked so
Yeah.
good. So I'm taking
Rookie year.
rookie year. So yeah, I'm taking that Zeke. Like then you compare him to everyone else in like their prime. Like
Yeah.
Zeke was so good right then. And then Gurley Gurley was look like just seeing some highlights. You would like people would think Gurley is one of the best backs ever to do it.
Hmm.
Oh, I could make this
Yeah.
way. I can make this even way harder.
That's really tough. I've got my answer. I'll give it to you pretty short and sweet. I'm keeping Zeke
Okay.
because in his rookie year, he had better numbers than any of the three other backs in their entire career. So I'm easily keeping Zeke. My number two guy, I'm keeping Todd Gurley
Okay.
because it's like he had a 3 year stretch, bro, where he was going insane. Prime Todd Gurley was a menace on the field. He was crazy. Um, he had 67 total touchdowns in his career. Only played 6 years compared to Jamal Charles had 44 touchdowns and played nearly double the amount of seasons.
Damn.
So, Jamal Charles is a crazy back. He was he's definitely the fastest back out of these guys. Um, and LaShawn McCoy, I'm keeping. He had 3 seasons that were also insane. In 2013, he had 1,607 yards on 9 touchdowns, 17 tutties in 2011, which was crazy. Longevity was definitely there, but it's going down to Jamal Charles versus Shady, and I'm keeping Shady. I'm cutting Jamal Charles.
Oh, you gotta keep.
I'm cutting Jamal.
That's fair.
Yeah,
But Zeke and Gurley, we were like, yeah, we gotta have them. Because I was
for
like thinking, I
sure.
was like, man, maybe I want to cut Zeke. I'm like, well, prime Zeke, like rookie year Zeke was really
Yeah,
good. Um,
exactly.
but yeah, I like the pick. If you want to take, I think they're kind of interchangeable. Oh, I got one last topic for you. I was thinking about this.
Hmm.
So in Madden or 2K, whichever one you want to pick, what was some like random player that you just were able to go off with?
2K, Boston Celtics, Courtney Lee. I would green bean him from deep every single shot, bro. Every single shot.
So I'm gonna show you my age here for a second. So this I'm gonna give you the title. It was NBA 2K14.
Yeah.
Before like we had all these these like my packs and stuff, my team and stuff that was super
Hmm.
advanced. Like did have contracts. Like if you bought like if you got a player, you just had them on your team. There's no
Yeah.
contracts. You just could start them, and like the best you could get is gold. So there's bronze, silver,
Hmm.
and gold. That's it. That's how old this
Hmm.
is. On that game, my buddy had a stack team. Like he had all the gold players. I played for free, so like all the coins that I earned grinding the game, and I had a bronze Jimmy Fredette that I could ball out with and hit from anywhere on the court. It felt like, and
Um,
I would just drain three after three and after three with him. Yeah, and like I had a couple silvers, I had and like bronze players, and he was just that bronze Jimmy Fredette was just ball absolutely out for me.
ooh, man. That's awesome. Brings back memories of playing those games.
Oh, for sure.
Well, that wraps it up, everybody. Thank you for tuning in to our podcast, Thunder Sports Pod. It has been a pleasure. Check out the TikTok, Thunder Sports Pod. It is gaining a lot of traction recently. It is the same handle right here. Leave a comment down below if you enjoyed this video. Leave a like as well. It's been your boy JT.
And the stash, baby. Don't forget, blitz, blame blitz. Woo!